workforce coordinator for the county. So they blended those two positions together because the county felt the need and saw the opportunity in investing in businesses and in workforce here in our community. So with that, welcome, Donna.
Do I really need to use the mic? Yes. Okay, I'm not going to stand on the stage, though, if that's okay with the rest of you all. So as Amelia said, I'm Donna Cooper. I have a duly funded position here at Laurel Community College in partnership with Fauquier County Economic Development Department. So that was a mouthful. Even yesterday, Amelia, I've known her for years, and she said, exactly what is your title? And I said, it is way too long. So it is a mouthful, but what it means in a nutshell is that I'm an unofficial documentor here in the county, and I interact with a lot of businesses on the daily, listening to their pain points, specifically and the ways of workforce. So we're going to talk about workforce a little bit today. As Contractors Edge, and how your local community college can probably help you with some of your workforce needs. Recently, another colleague and I determined that the kind of the unofficial theme of the community college this year is you never outgrow your community college. And what do I mean by that? So lots of people hear community college and you automatically think high school student. And you think they're going to graduate high school and they're going to go to the local community college for a couple of years, and then they're going to launch from there. Whatever that launch for them looks like could be different. It could be a 4-year institution, or it could be workforce or something else. But what do I mean by you never outgrow your community college? There's so many other things available to individuals and businesses at their local community college. The one thing that I really wanted to talk to you all about today, under this umbrella of Welcome to the Contractor's Edge, is something called Fast Forward Grant Money. That Fast Forward Grant Money, that is a program sponsored by the state of Virginia that will help fund skills training for skills that are in high demand in the state. The state gets behind it. What is also a little bit more unique about Fast Forward is it's regional, right? So here at Laurel Ridge Community College, what our region demands are look very different from the demands, say, in Southwestern Virginia Community College, or even just up the street at Nova, that community college. So it's very important for you to understand that whatever your local community college is, in the state of Virginia anyway, if that workforce department or that school is offering that program, you can rest assured that the research has already been done, and those are skills that are needed in your immediate area. So specifically, you might be thinking, well, what is she talking about? There on your table is a catalog, and I want you all to get it, and I'm going to have you turn it to my favorite page. It's normally right in the middle. I think 16. I call these my Monopoly cards. So you'll see electrical, HVAC, and plumbing programs right there. Like I said, it's the middle of the catalog. It's one of the reasons it's my favorite. Those are offered here at Laurel Ridge because there's a high demand for those skills in this area. But say like in Southwestern Virginia Community College, there's a lot of mining. There's a lot of mining programs offered down in that area, and Fast Forward funds will pay for that area. In the Tidewater region, there's a lot of like marine, underwater welding, all of that, because their industry partner is the shipyard, right? So again, it's very important that you understand and pay attention to the programs that are offered at your community college, because the research has already been done. That those skills are in high demand. So what I wanted to point out to you is the Fast Forward. So if you look at the electrical program, you'll see that the electrical level 1 class costs $2,799. But the state of Virginia will pay 2/3 of that cost, that tuition, because again, it's in high demand, and you'll see that the out-of-pocket price for someone is $933. That's not so bad for skills training, but here's where it gets really cool for businesses, because a business can leverage those funds to then pay for the skills training for their workforce. This gentleman, we were talking just a second ago, and he said it's so important that companies learn to invest in their people. And that is really very important, and this is an easy and affordable way for companies to get behind their people and leverage those funds and get affordable training for their employees. Because if I were to tell you that unemployment in the state of Virginia is less than 3%, what would you all think?
Yeah.
It's less than 3% in the state of Virginia, which is less than what it was pre-pandemic. So what does that mean to you all? What am I trying to tell you? That everyone who wants to work is working. And it's not because anyone's staying at home drawing unemployment. So what does that mean for businesses? It means you all need to think outside the box, and you need to invest in your people, maybe hire for fit and then train them. Maybe hire for skills that you can't teach, and then teach them the skills that we can teach somebody how to be a plumber, right? We can teach somebody how to be an HVAC tech. But you're going to need to go on and recruit those folks. Something else I want to tell you about the workforce, we were talking about at the table, it is a numbers thing. So there's a crazy number of baby boomers retiring on a daily basis. So they're exiting our workforce. The boomers, that's the largest generation, right? So don't quote me on this, but I believe that we all know Gen X is the smallest generation. That's no secret. But I don't think Gen X and Gen Z combined, I don't think they equal the baby boomers. So when you really start to think about that, and in terms of workforce, you have to get pretty creative. And you need to look to your community college to help you with that. So, like I said, I've already talked about the fast forward funds. If you flip through our catalog, anything with a little running man or a G3 on it, those are programs that are funded by state funds, state monies, and you can get training for little to nothing. But something else that I want to talk to you all about is our corporate training program. So if you flip back to page 23, you'll see our power skills training classes. Now, while some of these are not fast forward funded, they are still very affordable. And again, they go back to that theme, you never outgrow your community college, because maybe this would be a way that you could motivate some of your employees, or just do kind of a checkup on some of them, right? Maybe they are feeling a little burnt out or a little misdirected. These are some classes that can help kind of bring it back into focus for them. And the way that the corporate training department works, you can almost tailor your own. You can call us and you can say, hey, my team, they need better communication skills, or they need some basic computer skills, or they need leadership. Coming out of the pandemic, we did a survey and we learned that leadership, not high-level leadership, but that first-level leadership was a skill that was really missing. And if you think about it, coming out of COVID and everyone was home for a couple of years, it really does make sense. So there's lots of that training here at Laurel Ridge. Also, along the same lines, you flip the page. I'm sorry, I can't flip the page and hold this mic at the same time. Thanks. We have leadership-based camp, and again, this is to help launch. This to help launch that first level leadership where you're hiring and growing your workforce from within. So you launch your workforce, this gets them those basic leadership skills. We also have, and Amelia can tell you how great this program is leadership, LeaderCast, I'm sorry. This is a one-day event, and talk about filling your cup up. This will hit on several topics. LeaderCast was first developed by the folks, the Chick-fil-A folks. So when you think about how I want you all, how many people have ever had a bad experience at a Chick-fil-A? I mean, I know I haven't. So I wouldn't imagine that any of you all have. So when you think about those leadership skills and you think about they must be doing something right, this is another great way to help your workforce grow. Now, in workforce and here at Laurel Ridge, we're not just limited to the trades that I spoke of. I spoke about the trades in particular because that is in high demand in our area with all of the road work going up and down 66 and 81. Construction trades, very high demand in our area. Also in high demand, our healthcare services and our computer and IT services. All of these industry sectors have classes that you can take and leverage those fast forward funds. Again, next to nothing. So I wanted to show you all, as you drove in, you probably noticed the construction on the other end of campus. We are, because we are dedicated to the construction trades, Fauquier County donated that land, and the college is now overbuilding our trades building, where we will offer a few, this is what it's going to look like, just in case you're curious. That's what it's going to look like when it's done.
Here, I can hold it. And then
Okay.
you got it. All right, yeah.
And then we flip to the next one. You can go to the next one. I can show you. And here's our little floor plan for it. You will find plumbing classes, HVAC classes, electrical, heavy equipment operator classes, welding, which for you all, you might not necessarily know that. For Fauquier County, that's very exciting because we've always only offered welding at our main campus in Middletown, Virginia. So it's very exciting that we're bringing it to Fauquier. And then kind of along your theme of what projects are we working on, the big project for workforce here at Laurel Ridge right now is a diesel program, a diesel tech program. Because again, if you think about heavy equipment operator and the welding, the diesel is another skill, another trade that is in high demand in our area. So we are hoping to have diesel, it takes a while to stand up a program, so not in 2024, but we're working on it. That is our big project. So I showed you all of that just to show you, again, the dedication to the local community college by the local businesses, by our school's foundation, by the county. As I said, the land was donated by the county because the county really believes in what the college is doing. So tell me what needs that your businesses have or you have, and then I can share with you some of the programs that we might have here at Laurel Ridge that would help you. Thank you. Make an excellent banner.
Thank you.
Anything?
Could you provide some information on the apprenticeship program and how that does it connect with the fast forward program?
It does. So he asked about our apprenticeship program. So that is a tricky word. Actually, we have an instructor who is skilled. He has his master's in all of those areas. You're flipping back to page 16. We have an instructor who has his master's in electrical HVAC and plumbing, and he gives me such a hard time. He says that this page is so confusing. So an apprenticeship, a true apprenticeship, is the partnership between that person and that person's employer, okay? So what we offer is the educational component to that apprenticeship. So just because you're in these classes doesn't necessarily mean that you are an apprentice, but it's the educational component. So if I went and found a job with someone who is a registered, he can have a registered apprentice, then I can use these classes in conjunction. I can get my on-the-job training hours with that employer, and then I can be doing my classes here, and then when I'm ready, it will check the box. I'll be able to sit for my journeyman's or my master's. But a true apprentice is the agreement between the employee and the employer. Now, these skills, again, like I told you, these things, if it's in this catalog, it's in high demand, and we will have some students ask, well, how can I get a job? Can you help me get a job? We have a network. We're not a placement agency or anything. But 9 times out of 10, if you just show the initiative and enroll in some of those classes and it truly is something that you want to do, you're not going to have trouble finding a job in this area. You know, every now and then we'll have a student come back and we'll say, okay, well, have you tried this person, or this person? And they'll go and find a job. Similarly, if you flip to page 15, and this is normally the one that I talk about the most, this program is near and dear to my heart, but the heavy equipment operator program, just as I said, most of the classes in our catalog are in high demand in our area. We also have really strong industry partnerships. So again, if it's in our catalog, it is backed. It's not just because Donna over at Laurel Ridge says that we need heavy equipment operators. We have put, I just told you how it does it. It's going to take about a couple years before we launch a diesel program. It's because we really take the time to dig deep and understand the needs, understand if people get this skill, are they going to be able to get a job? So heavy equipment operator, we enjoy a really strong industry partnership with the Heavy Construction Contractors Association, which is the HCCA. That industry, that organization represents over 170 companies and 35,000 employees in this area. And that group is one of the groups that came to us and said, hey, this is a need. So then that sparked the research, we stood up the program, and then you can read about that program. On page 15, we guarantee an interview for any student completing that program at the end of the class. And I always tell the students, we guarantee an interview, not a job. I get them the interview, they have to get themselves the job. So, and that's really that's a whole different, that's a fun program that we offer. It's a serious program, but it's fun. The model is really fun because like I said, at the end of the program, at the end of class, they have an interview. And it's a speed dating style interview with one of several employers. Once upon a time, when I first took this job and we have the interview day, I would be really amazed when someone would be offered a job on the spot. I would think, oh my gosh, wow, this is awesome, right? Well, now I have changed. I've found myself that I go into the class or two before the interview and I prepare them and I say, listen, you are likely going to have a couple of job offers. You need to be ready to ask this question, this question, this question. So it's funny how over the years that model has flipped so that often our students are in the driver's seat at the end of that class. What other questions about any of the other programs or, typically when I do a presentation, someone says, well, have you ever thought of this program? Yeah.
I was just curious for the heavy equipment, there's a guaranteed interview, but for like HVAC plumbing, is there anything
So great question he asked. He says he noticed the guarantee the interview for heavy equipment, but not so much for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. Because, as I just explained to you, the apprenticeship, the relationship, we will often have employers send that's how the employers are leveraging those fast forward grant funds. So you have a job with, ABC Plumbing, and they send you to Laurel Ridge to get the educational component completed. So it would not work well with our overall partners if we then let other people come in and recruit from the class. So heavy equipment, and I believe CompTIA in IT. There's one other program that has a guaranteed interview. And it's because it's more like a launch pad. So then the others often employers will send their students. Now, something I will tell you all, as you all are interacting with many other people, we are always looking for instructors. So that's something I have shared with you before. How can I get in front of your students? I want to get in front of your students. And I'll say, well, you know what? The best way to get in front of our students is to come teach for us. So, and I have, with heavy equipment in particular, there are a couple of instructors, two in particular, they happen to work for the same company. And thankfully, all the companies, they get along really well. They're competitors professionally, but they're all friendly outside of their profession. So it really is a unique partnership. But they all tease and they say, hey, this company, ABC Excavating, they get the best students. Why? So, well, because this is what happens. Their ABC Excavating sent me some instructors, and all of the students, they're with that instructor for 22 weeks, right? So they want to grow up and be like that instructor. And in their minds, to be like that instructor, they need to work where that instructor works, right? So it just is kind of natural. It's not done intentionally. But yeah, the best way to get in front of our students is to share your trade, to share your gift, and teach. And if you know someone, or that spoke to you in the very back of our catalog, is our entire workforce team. And you'll see everyone's specialty there. So if you're like, oh, well, I teach CompTIA, then you can find our IT program manager and contact her. So, what you're on roll. Keep on. What other questions do you have?
Are there any placement agencies, and you said that you guys don't do that here, but are there any kind of well-known placement agencies specifically for this track area, or is it usually the apprenticeship model that you guys?
So you can look on the Department of Labor's website for registered apprenticeships, and then each industry normally has, like for instance, the heavy equipment has the Heavy Construction Contractors Association. Typically, each industry will have a regional organization. I can't think of what they are off of the top of my head. I'd be happy if you gave me your contact information. I'd be happy to look that up for you and share it with you. So, because I know, for instance, on the heavy equipment, that industry, we have HCCA and there's the Virginia Asphalt Association, and if you go to either of those groups' websites, there are all kinds of jobs listed. So I just don't know the others off the top of my head.
Donna, if I wanted to take a upskill class, take a project management or something like that, can you do one-offs?
Yeah. So that's a great question too. And Amelia reminded me of something I normally say about all of the workforce classes and even the other programs at the college in general. But she said, can I take a one-off? Yes. So especially in the workforce catalog, all of those classes, most are designed to you can take one or as many as you want. In fact, our favorite word is stackable. So most of the skills in the catalog will stack. And as I say, they'll talk to each other. So the example Amelia used was project management. So if you take heavy equipment will stack nicely with a construction project management credential. Both of which would stack nicely with, a plumbing track, because they lay all kinds of pipe. You will rarely meet a tradesman who is skilled in just one trade. Often, they have an offshoot. As I told you, one of our instructors has his master's in all three. So, yeah, great question. You can take one, you can take as many as you want, make them talk to each other, make them stack. CDL stack nicely with heavy equipment. Eventually diesel will stack nicely with welding, and heavy equipment. The welding classes, they are what we call a tag along and add on. You will rarely you'll meet a tradesman who cannot weld. They all, like I said, they all stack nicely together and work well together. And again, these are skills that you can get for yourself or for your employees at very affordable prices.
Just thinking about some of the other folks in the room. I don't need a microphone. What do you all have in the way of maybe marketing or business? And is there any fast forward? Is that the program?
It is fast forward.
Okay.
I will tell you, you're going to see more fast forward funding for the trades, the IT, like I said, those skills that are in high demand, where there's a bigger skills gap, right? But if you flip to the front of the page, there is, front of the catalog, we have a lot of online classes. Where was it? Where you can find, there's a web design certificate series on page 8, and there's a marketing, I saw it earlier. I live more in the world of trades, so start asking some of those other questions. I don't see it now. There was a digital marketing, yeah, on page 22, we do have a business and professional development sector. So a lot of those skills you find, like the HR and SHRM classes, can't read upside down. Business analysis, those are listed more as career enhancement, QuickBooks, but a lot like what Amelia just asked, you could take one at a time as the need arose.
And just to follow up, is there like an online resource center for across the state, just different fast forward, programming in different regions? Does that make sense?
Yeah, if you go, well, any community college in Virginia is going to have their fast forward classes listed. But if you Google fast forward, you'll be able to find various fast forward programs. Yeah.
Thank you.
What else?
Yes. You just did.
Just one, you used it.
I'm like, because I'm like, been asking them. I'm thinking of a move, but you said the building over there was for, so you built a TIG building, and it did include every type of like building and tree over there, the new building actually.
Yeah, it doesn't include every type of what?
Like building, like TIG
Welding?
building.
Yeah, so our welding classes, it's TIG, MIG, and there's one other, TIG, MIG. You'll see everything about our welding on page 18. And we are basically picking up that program out of the Middletown campus and putting it over here in the Fauquier campus. So, and I should point out that all of our instructors are industry experts. So it's not me teaching plumbing out of a book. It is always someone who's been in the industry. For those three, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical, they have to have their journeyman's or their masters. For heavy equipment, since there's no journeyman's or masters, they have to have at least 10 years of earth moving experience welding, they have to have, most of the time we prefer that they're AWS certified. And most of the time, our classes are designed evenings and weekends so that the working individual can take those classes. So while working individual is often the student, you will see our instructors will come in, heavy equipment guys, they come in with the red flag on their boots. You know, they are true industry experts. And they are, again, that's when I'm talking mostly about the trades because that's the world I live in. But the same thing, you can see some instructor highlights on page 4 in our computers and IT world. Again, industry professionals. They have no work to teach you. Does that answer your question about welding?
Oh, yeah.
I know it went off to something else.
No, not really actually. It was, I was doing cooking, really, I was learning to ride. I mentioned was like, you should learn it. You know, sometimes they hire a job for a airman to go over the water, and people there take it. That's fun, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I have to also learn how to use scoopy gear. Like, oh my God. It was always in the back of my head. You know, let me ask you.
Yeah. What other questions about paying for training, fast forward training, anything that we offer here at the college? Again, the theme, I'm going to repeat it, you never outgrow your community college. So some of you have traveled from different parts of the state. Just check out your local community college and see what resources that they have available for you to either get skills that you need or to upskill your employees.
Just one last one. If someone does sign up for one of the fast forward rates or whatever, is it a reimbursement or they just only have to pay that rate up front? That question makes sense.
I'm so glad you asked that question, and I can't believe I glossed over this, because this is very important about the fast forward grant money. So the only qualifications, the only requirement that will qualify you for fast forward grant money is that you have to have lived in the state of Virginia for the last 12 months. Now, you sign a promissory note that says you will successfully complete that course, or you will pay the state of Virginia its money back. So there is, you do have to pay the money up front, the third, that, $900, the third. You have to pay that up front, and then you sign the promissory note that says you will pass that class. So, now, here at Laurel Ridge, I can tell you that we have a pretty high credentialing rate, we have a pretty high pass rate, and I give all of our instructors that credit. They work really, really hard. They take it to heart to make sure their students are understanding the material and getting the skill. And most of them take, this very serious. They're like, if I teach somebody how to, weld, and they go out in the world and say, hey, so-and-so taught me how to weld, they're wearing my stamp, so they want to make sure that their students understand the skill and pass the class. Anything else? All right, well look, I'm so glad that you all have joined us here at Laurel Ridge today. We're very proud of our new building, Hazel Hall. It just opened in September. September 2022. The campus has been here for 30 years, and this addition was a long time in coming, and we're just happy. We're happy it's here. We're happy it's open. We're happy to share it with the community. So,
Awesome.